This weekend, I am back gravel racing, and for some absolutely unhinged reason, I've decided to enter the elite race. It's time for Dalby Grit. Now, this is a brand new gravel race that's only just sprung up this year, and I was really keen to race it since the national champs are going to be in Dalby Forest this year. And after all the chaos at the start of the Gralloch and how much smoother I found it starting up at the front during the Dirty Reaver, I decided, you know what, I'm going to see how I fare in the elite field. And let's just say, my opinion of the elite age group split that they seem to be loving in gravel isn't the strongest, especially not in a race of this caliber. I need to add, this video is supported by Insta360 and their Ace Pro 2 camera, which I'll be using to shoot almost all the footage used in this video. Looking at the start sheet though, it's going to be a very small field. There's only 18 riders on the start list for the elite race, with not even that many in the age group race starting around 5 minutes behind us, which I'm hoping will benefit me as I'm still not the best at riding in a big group. And I definitely come into my own in these gravel races once the groups have been split to pieces and it's just man versus man. But we'll see how the race goes. Looking at a lot of the names on the start sheet though, a lot of them did some rather impressive times at the Gralloch, with several riders finishing the Gralloch in under 3.5 hours, which with my 4-hour completion time, yes, it was marred by about 20 minutes of puncture repairs, it's going to be a tall order to say with the main bunch. Anyway, I've got one main goal for this race, and that is simply don't come last. In terms of my bike setup for this race, I've not changed all that much since the Gralloch. The main changes are coming to the wheels and tyres I'm running. Since the Gralloch, I've got hold of these Yoleo Pro C45 gravel wheels with their 27mm wide internals, and I can't wait to race in them this weekend. On top of that, I'm running Schwalbe G1 bike tyres. I've had these ages and I've still not had any issues with them, so fingers crossed we're not going to get a puncture with these, and I'm just hoping that the gravel at Dalby is nowhere near as savage as it was up in Galloway Forest at the Gralloch. Other than that though, not much has really changed about my bike. I'm still running my 48 tooth front chainring and 1050 cassette in the rear, even though I probably am going to need to replace that cassette soon because it's getting incredibly worn. And yeah, I'm even running my super lightweight rotors. And up front, to make battery changes easy, I've got my magnetic mount, so I can easily snap on my Insta360 camera. And now time for a quick word on the sponsor of today's video, Insta360. Now they have sent me both their Ace Pro 2 and Go 3S cameras to produce content for you all, and I am absolutely loving using them. For this race, I'm going to be using my Ace Pro 2 since weight isn't as critical as in a hill climb, and I want the absolute best video quality possible. With its huge sensor, it's going to be great if there's any low light situations in the forest. Another feature I really like, since I am going to be sifting through 3.5 to 4 hours worth of footage after this race, is their auto edit feature. It goes through your footage and picks out highlights to create a really easy highlight reel, which for when I'm coming to my edit makes my life so much easier. And as always, their stats overlays blow the competition out the water with just how simple it is to get the stats off my Garmin and into the footage for you all. If you want to get an Insta360 camera to film your own adventures and gravel races, now is the time to do it. They have got some huge discounts in their Prime Day sale running from the 4th to the 15th of July. Make sure you click the link down below and get one while you can. It is race time. Let's get to Dalby Forest. Right, we're out here at the Dalby Grit today, and for some reason I've decided to enter the elite field, which might result in me getting a bit of a kick in, but it'll be good fun anyway. I'm just riding over to the start now, and yeah, let's see how it goes. One thing's for certain though, this weather's pretty awful with really high wind today and a horrible overcast cloud, feeling really quite damp, so rain might be on the cards. About half an hour to go, not gonna lie though, nerves are setting in a bit, warming up. It's going to be a hard start, I can feel it. Fortunately though, for this one, like the Gralloch, there is a 1.5 kilometre neutral zone, but knowing what neutral zones are like, they're often really fast. At least there's only 18 riders in my field, so it won't be quite as much of a battle for positioning through it. Just hoping it's not too technical too early on, and there's a chance to settle in before they send you down some nasty single track. And just praying for no mechanicals today, that's the main one. But if it all goes wrong, I'll just have a nice day out on the bike and slide back into the age group field. I've got to give it a go, roll the dice on the elite race. We'll see what happens. It'll be fun starting at the front anyway. And yeah, as I said, I'll be using my Insta360 Ace Pro 2 to take you all along for the ride today. Yeah.
The busy tent as well. The higher number.
And just like that, the race was underway. We've all started behind a lead motorbike for the first neutralised kilometre, mostly on this tarmac road. Once we got through that 1 kilometre banner though, the motorbike pulled off and the pace sharply increased, with racing underway. It wasn't long until the first gravel sector where we swung right onto a forest track, and the pace was absolutely relentless here, sprinting just to stay on the back of the group. This is far faster than the start of any other gravel event I'd done. And this is the moment where I was glad I had a camelback, when the rider in front of me's bottle bounced out its cage. After my experience at the Dirty Reaver, I'm glad that's not happened to me again. Unfortunately, coming out this corner, I made a bit of a mistake crunching my gears and somehow got myself distanced from the group and had to engage in a massive chase to get back in contact, which in the next couple of minutes I did manage to do, fortunately. There was actually finally a bit of a lull in proceedings here, with the pace knocking off quite a bit. That gave me a chance to get my breath back and prepare for the rest of the racing. One thing I have noticed about this race, it started with a short 22-kilometre loop, which was almost pancake flat, so not really any opportunity for selection. However, out of every corner the pace was being absolutely hammered, and it was still a test to stay within the group. One of my goals was hopefully to survive in this group until we hit a significant climb, because I knew if the selection happened on a climb, I have a far better chance of making the front rather than if the selection happens on some technical single track. Unfortunately, as I said before, this course was super flat, especially at the start. So yeah, there was really no opportunity for me to flex my legs here. And then there was a bit of a bunching up in the group at this sudden left turn, and we were onto a fast and narrow bit of single track. I made an absolute state of this section, almost crashing on several occasions and unfortunately losing the group. I do have to apologise to the riders behind me here, as I think I took them out of the group as well with me. I was just freaking out, and there was no way I could take a sideline and let them pass here without dangerously coming to a stop and holding them up even more. But I guess that's racing. If you want to have a good position into a single track, you've got to fight for it. After this extra little section of single track, which I rode probably even worse, we were approaching the start of the main lap. Unfortunately, there was a rider at the side of the road who had crashed, and I hope he didn't hurt himself too much. Fortunately, on the main lap, there were actually a few significant climbs where I started to make gains on some riders, picking off 1 or 2 riders going out of the back of the front group. If only I could have held that front group until the climbs, then I might have had a chance to make a better selection. Then, all of a sudden, the leader of the age group race blitzed past me like a truck, and this is where my opinion of this race and how it was set up does drop. This rider was clearly so far above his field and absolutely should have been in the elite race every day of the week. Obviously, I'm going to take the free pull if there is one, but in my opinion, it really does mess up the dynamic of the race, and before long, he distanced me as well. We were now into a long section of me on my own, with only these motorbikers kicking up a dust cloud for company, until almost the end of the first of the 2 main laps, where the big field from the age group race finally caught up with me. It was quite a strong group with around 8 riders in it, and I jumped straight in the wheels, hoping to be able to hold this group till the end. Right before the end of the lap, we hit the absolute leg breaker of a tarmac climb, where I confidently held the group back into the gravel. Before, unfortunately, reaching that same dreaded single track from the first lap. I think I did actually ride it slightly better this time round, but unfortunately I was still too slow, and slowly the elastic band to the group opened up and up and up, and by the bottom of the single track I was well and truly off the back of the group and had to prepare for another long stint riding on my own. Eventually, I caught this rider with a yellow helmet that I was riding the single track with earlier, and we did actually manage to work quite well together, but my legs were pretty shot at this point, and eventually 3 other riders did actually catch us. I sat on the back of that group until right near the end of the second of the main laps, around 10k from the finish, where again we got back to my favourite section of the entire course, that bit of mountain bike single track. I was feeling a bit more confident about how I was going to ride it, but unfortunately for the rider in front of me, he went slightly too fast into one of the corners and ended up hitting the deck. He seemed all right though, at least, and I did manage to get past without coming down myself. But unfortunately, the slowing down there meant them 3 riders in front of me were completely gone, and I was set for a solo ride to the finish. I did keep the pace on in the hope I might catch 1 or 2 more riders in the last couple of kilometres, and to my delight, I did actually manage to catch and pass a couple more guys. And finally, it was the time to swing right into the finishing straight, where there was this weird, confusing switchback to get onto that camping field, where I drilled it through there in the hope I might catch the guy in front, which in reality was never going to happen. Before crossing that finish line, I was absolutely exhausted.
Hey!
Well, yeah, that's been a good day racing, even if I didn't get quite the result I wanted. At least the bike held up, and my new Yodio wheels definitely didn't miss a beat. It's crazy how quiet it is though here tonight. There were loads of vans here last night, but as you can see, there's barely anyone left. It's a good race, it just didn't really suit me that much. I mean, there was a lot of flat stuff and there weren't that many long drawn out climbs, which I really need to get back into the race, because I think actually at the minute, the thing holding me back the most is being able to ride efficiently in a group, because I've noticed when I'm in a big group of riders, I'm always yo-yoing off the back, wasting loads of energy sprinting to get back on, or when there's a technical section, losing the wheels. So I think that's where I really need to be working on to get better at these races in future, because once you get to the stage where it's all blown to pieces and everyone's on their own, then I'm slowly picking riders off. It's just when I'm on my own fighting against a group, there's no chance. So it's all a learning curve and I'm getting better as we go.
All right, let's talk about this category system then, because I think the British gravel scene really does have a problem with this. Right now, the system is broken. For some reason, they seem obsessed with this idea of an age group race and an elite race. I get it. At races like the Gralloch, where you're going to have a massive field with actual elite or pro riders entering, you do need to keep us amateurs out of the way of the top tier pros. But at smaller races like this Dalby Grit, I really just don't see the need. And honestly, it just ruins the racing. All these tiny little age bands like 21 to 34, then 35 to 39, then 40 to 44, then 45 to 49, means there's just so many little tiny fields and you can't really race it properly. You know, another race that means a lot to me, the Three Peaks Cyclocross. Yes, it's technically not a gravel race, but to be honest with you, it's the precursor to gravel racing, really. They managed to do it all in one race. Now that's a field of 400 riders with sections on open roads on far sketchier terrain, so you can't argue that it's for safety reasons. All they do is they grid the top riders off the start, so they're not going to get caught up. And you know what? It just works. The first 40-year-old to cross the line wins a V40, first 50-year-old wins a V50, the first U23 wins U23, and you get a point. They don't need to have all these weird staggered starts that make a weird race dynamic, because actually, it does actually wreck the race. When you take me on the weaker end of the elite field compared to the stronger age group riders who caught me and other elite riders that were going out the back, now if I've put a big effort in to drop another elite rider, but then they get caught by a big group of age groupers that drag them back into the race and actually maybe drag them past me, that's not really the dynamic of a proper race there. Now, you could argue, yeah, I shouldn't be in the elite race. I'm clearly not on the level of the actual elite riders, which there's probably only about 3 or 4 of in this field. But then you could also argue, how come the winner of the age group race is that close to the time of the elite race, with the age group winner doing 3 hours 32 minutes, which would have been good enough for 7th place overall, and was within 3 minutes of 2nd place overall. It's simply ridiculous and broken. If you're going to have an elite race, in my opinion, it can't be self-selected, because you will always get people who choose to race down a category because they could stand a chance at winning the age group race when they know they're not going to win the elite race, even though by any definition they are a far more elite rider than basically half the elite field. And I think it's a simple solution. Look how BC do it on the road. You have your road category, which is governed by points. Let's say I get to 2nd cat, I cannot race a 3-4 race, I have to race a 2nd cat or up. It's really simple. Whether that's a national ranking system or a points-based system, you know, it's up to BC to decide how to do it. But this whole split field just makes no sense. It's just a bit of a mess. And sorry to have a big rant at the end of this video, because actually it was quite a fun race. Right, rant aside, anyway, I'm really enjoying my gravel racing at the minute. I'm having another block of racing in September where I'll be taking part at the next World Series round in Wales, and then I will maybe be competing at the Gravel Nationals. Let me know in the comments below if there's any other gravel races you'd recommend me trying, and also let me know your thoughts on this elite and age group categorization system and how you think it could be fixed in future. And make sure to check out Insta360's awesome Prime Day sale where you can get yourself an absolute bargain on what in my genuine opinion is the best action camera you can buy. I'll see you all in the next one.